So I was actually considering dropping it during the summer between grade 11 and 12.
Oh, that's actually pretty cool. I did not know that.
Hashtags free trade.
Hashtag free trade, and it's crazy how it's changing the world. Hello. Welcome back to the third episode of the Decemt Podcast. I'm Alex. I'm with
Jason here.
And today we have our special second guest. So before we announce our second guest of the podcast, some worldwide news as always. Jason, want to start us off?
Yes, obviously. So the politics is on fire nowadays. First, we have Canada, right? Trudeau's, doing his stuff. And the Governor General, Julie Payette, resigned. And also her secretary also resigned from being accused of workplace inappropriate things. And second, the US still on fire. Obviously, we have the famous video of Representative Green, harassing the school shooting survivor. And also we have Ted Cruz tweeting out that Paris Agreement is in favor of the views of the citizens of Paris, not the views of citizens of Pittsburgh, and that made me laugh. And Biden administration has been on for 2 weeks now, and they held a lot of news conference, and seeing Dr. Fauci smiled again is very nice. Hopefully they will do better as a country in a collective. And also, on the other side of the world, in Asia, Myanmar is having a military coup, apparently. The military has captured Aung San Suu Kyi and other democratic leaders, and it's trending on Twitter and other social medias. What else? Oh, and I just saw a news that a lot of human rights organization wants to stop the Team Canada going to Beijing Olympics in 2022 because of the accused human rights issued against minorities in China. And what else? Funny enough, a news said that a lot of US Capitol rioters didn't vote in the last election, and also recently an accused US Capitol rioter asked judge to let her go on Mexico vacation. How ironic. Turn it to you.
So basically, I'm not going to spread a lot of news, but a giant snowstorm is hitting the northeast side of the United States, which frankly is also affecting me because I live in Canada, very near to the border.
Yeah, it happens every year, I guess.
Yeah, but this one is quite big. And right now outside, I don't know if you can hear the wind, but I feel that it's a blizzard. So,
Climate change.
Climate change. Next on the news is that CEO or former CEO Jeff Bezos from Amazon has stepped down. He's still going to be president in the Amazon committee. He's, I think, going to be executive director.
Mm-hmm.
Andy Jassy is the person who is going to replace him as CEO. And he said that he wants to focus more on the spacecraft. I think it's Orange something. I forgot the name of it.
Spacecraft?
Yeah, like he wants
I'm
to focus.
not aware of that.
Yeah, he wants to focus more on kind of competing with Elon Musk's SpaceX. So that should be interesting. And the last news before we enter the episode and introduce our guest is the gigantic theme of the GameStop incident in Wall Street. How it shattered the news. How a couple of millions of people banded up in the social media Reddit in the r/Wall Street bets, and they literally gave a giant middle finger to the big suits.
Hashtags free trade.
Free trade, and it's crazy how it's changing the world. But that for another time. But let's start with the podcast. Jason, do you want to introduce her?
Yeah, this is Liv. She's been our friends for a while from Ridley as well. So let's just jump into the first question of who are you? Just let her speak for herself.
Yeah, sounds good. My name is Liv, like Jason said. We know each other from Ridley. We've been friends for about 4 years, 5 years now. I'm currently going to school at U Ottawa for health sciences, but I'm from Niagara Falls. That's where I live. And yeah.
Any hobbies you have right now, particularly?
It's just a lot of studying these days, honestly. I've been taking up, cooking and that kind of thing a bit more recently, but it's mostly just studying.
That's good. That's
It's not
fair.
that much to do, seriously, during the pandemic. But I hope
Exactly.
everything opens up. We can all go back to doing whatever we love. Yeah. So, second question is, how did we meet? So Alex came to Ridley, obviously, as we mentioned in our first episode, 2 years later in grade 11. But Liv and I actually met way before in grade 9.
So you guys had just like a much more in-depth friendship. So
Yeah, we've been
if
to
you
like a lot of classes together. I don't know if you have class with Alex.
did we have any classes together? That's what I'm trying
I
to
don't
think.
think so. Because, yeah, what are you taking? I don't think we would have been in any of the same classes in IB, right?
During IB, I took visual arts, computer science, English, German. Wait, TOK?
Did we have TOK together? I don't remember anything.
No, Liv's in like my class.
Yeah,
Then
I was
no,
in Jason's TOK
then
class.
no. But like, do you have any like funny stories with Jason or something about that? You remember him? Just some first.
I don't even really remember like the first time we met. I just remember like quickly becoming friends with him. I might have been a Tiger ambassador. That might have been how I met him the first time. But honestly, Jason and I we've always gotten along really well.
Yeah. I think it's just like the random, it's just like, hi, what's your name? Oh, Liv, this is Jason. Later on, it's just like we meet in class and stuff and
exactly, yeah.
that.
Mm-hmm.
I guess my first impression on you is like pretty vague, but it's like all like outgoing, like surrounding that thing. But
Yeah, I was gonna say that I didn't get to personally meet you a lot during Ridley, but every time I saw you were hanging out with friends, you always I would always go to the library and you had 5, 7 people always around you. So like you could just tell Liv was a very like light person.
Oh, that's so sweet.
That was pretty cool. But I kind of want to jump in more about you. I think you said that you are Canadian, but Ridley is more of an international school. Yes, we have Canadians, but how or why did you decide to go to Ridley? Like which school did you go first, and what was that mindset to just transition into a bigger school?
So since I moved around a lot, I was at a lot of different public schools, and my mom also homeschooled me for a couple years while we were living in Mexico and traveling the States and stuff.
Oh, you lived in Mexico?
Yeah.
Wait, yeah. You told me you just visit Mexico. Where'd you live in Mexico?
I lived in Cabo.
Really?
Yeah, for a year.
Oh, that's actually pretty cool. I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. But yeah, and then I went to a public school we settled down in Canada, in Niagara, and I went to a public school for about grade 5 to grade 7. And my parents decided that they wanted to put me in I guess like a better school, like to try to help me go to med school because they knew that's the route I wanted to take. So they wanted to, just give me all they could. So yeah.
Have you considered like other case, like we also have Applebee or
yeah. So why Ridley?
Well, Ridley was the closest time-wise to us because Applebee was in Oakville, but we were living in Niagara, so it was a lot easier just to go to Ridley. And I don't know, I feel like we did look at Applebee a bit and also some places in downtown Toronto, and we just didn't really like them as much as we liked Ridley. So
interesting. So how does the international element play in this decision?
I think because I traveled around a lot, I was a little more worldly than some of my peers in public school. So going to an international school, I think really allowed me to learn about different cultures, because I'd never really been introduced to those kinds of cultures before, other than through, you know, the media, but obviously that's not always an accurate representation. So, yeah, I think it definitely changed me a lot for the better in my perception of the world and my ability to critically think as well.
Yeah, I would say that too. I think Alex also had a similar experience. So I'm curious, you know, as a Canadian, you've been maybe surrounded by Canadians and went to travel a little bit. But after being at Ridley for 4 years, 5 years, what like what specifically changed to you? Because I know after receiving the culture, or just like, you know, we all have biases towards certain types of people or group of people. uh After a while, you know, interacting with them and communicating, what changed to for you after having this experience?
Well, growing up in a fairly small town, I've always like had some biases, of course, and I've always tried to stray away from those biases because I know they're incorrect, right? It's like I don't know if you've heard the saying, like, you're not in control of your first thought, but every thought after and every action after is what you are in control of.
Yeah.
And so I think going to Ridley helped me change kind of like that first thought about people, not even just when it comes to like nationality and everything, but, you know, maybe the way people dress or the way people talk or something like that. So, yeah.
So we mentioned before that we did a few classes together because all of us three were part of the IB. I still don't know what IB stands for. It's an
International
Baccalaureate.
Baccalaureate. Yeah. So for those who don't,
the spelling is just crazy.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, I think we mentioned it a few times before in our other episodes. It's a very vigorous program, a 2-year program that goes on in grade 11 and 12. So my first question about IB is why did you choose IB?
Well, I wanted to go to university in the States or in the UK. And in those two areas, IB helps a lot for school. And then it just ended up that, you know, with finances and everything, it was going to be a little too pricey for me to end up going there. But I still kind of had those like time management qualities and stuff under my belt. And I'm quite stubborn. So I'm the type that if I start something, I don't want to just give up on it. So I was actually considering dropping it during the summer between grade 11 and 12. But again, my stubbornness took over and I didn't let myself, because I didn't want to be deemed a quitter. So
I can actually relate with you, because same as you, before coming to Ridley, in Mexico I went to a British school, which since grade 2 they were preparing you to be in the IB. I don't know if you heard about the IGCSEs, which is
yeah, I think I have.
It's before the IB, so well before then. But like you, I didn't really want to go to UK or the US. I actually really fell in love with Canada, so I was also thinking about quitting during the summer, because it really is a hard program. I think all of us can attest. But yeah, same as you, just like the stubbornness. I'm willing to prove to people that you want to finish it, but then we don't even do exams. So I don't know
exactly
if that was good or bad. But yeah, Jason, you were gonna say something?
Yeah. So the question was, how did IB prepare you for uni, right? And I think, in my perspective, at least, with first of all, TOK, theory of knowledge, that class kind of prepares you for like the broader thinking part of the entire university. Because it's just so different. In uni, you do readings, like literally now 3 of us are probably filled with readings, and you gotta, you know, extract knowledge from those readings by yourself because of online learning and stuff. And also, I think there's way more writing in IB than the normal OSSD program in Ontario.
Mhm.
And that kind of, especially for second language students, we write a lot. So we prepare ourselves better, uh, English wise. And I was thinking about like a general advice just to the audience. If you are so for those of you who are considering whether you are going to AP or IB or any other like international recognized diploma program in high school, my general advice is, at least in Canada, choose wisely. If you are staying in Canada for university, like for sure, I wouldn't recommend IB as much, if I say, because it's a hard program and your grade will convert to OSSD at the end of it, or any grade in your province. So it's not worth it to take IB and to get a lower grade to get into Canadian university. But if you're in the US, if you're anywhere else in the world and you want to go to another country or study in the more competitive school, like those in the Ivy League, yes, do IB and prepare yourself. It really it's an asset, I would say.
Yeah.
You just say,
So
I have a
Liv,
diploma.
so kind of just tell us like how it helped for uni, and
Yeah, for sure.
what kind of advice would you give to the people who are doing it right now or planning on doing it?
One nice thing that was like an immediate payoff of IB was I was able to drop my English course for a semester,
Okay.
because I took English high level HL, and if you score high enough in one of your HL classes, then you can drop that class when you come to university. So that was nice. And I feel like it just, a lot of the stuff that we're doing in my classes feels like review, which is really nice because that's like, it's like review plus a little extra. So I'm not learning the whole whack of content. I'm just like brushing up and, adding a little bit more knowledge. But I think one piece of advice I would have is like, you really need to learn to time manage. I know everyone says that, but that's like probably the most important thing of IB, because the whole summer between grade 11 and grade 12, I didn't do any work on my extended essay. And when I went back to school, my supervisor had me switch my whole topic. So September, and we had ours due in October. So there was 1 week that like the whole 5 nights combined, I got like 4 hours of sleep. And I was like hallucinating, and it was not fun. So I think one of the most important things is to really, like, if you have free time, you need to do your stuff, and you just need to have that kind of discipline and keep in mind what you're working towards so that you can actually get it done.
Yeah, fully agree. Time management, especially kind of, I don't know if being in a boarding school, well, you were a day student, but for us, for Jason and I, being in a boarding school, also wanting to like kind of immerse yourself in the with your friends. Time management is a big key for IB, and for me especially, it has helped me for university, in terms of planning and everything. But talking about university, it's a good transition. During COVID and everything that happened this year, it was quite weird how our transition was during the main thing of the pandemic. So the next question 5 is, how was your transition from Ridley, or how was like your time during that lockdown into university?
I think that, obviously I don't want a pandemic to happen, but if a pandemic were to happen at any time in my life, I feel like that was probably the best time for it to happen, because we got pardoned from mocks and finals. And then we were able to kind of have some downtime after our 2 years. We just had nothing to do, so we could just relax. I got to spend more time with my parents before I moved away. And I I caught mono this summer, so at least I was home and not spreading it to anyone. Um, so yeah, it was probably like a really good time for the pandemic, but I'm I wish it would have ended come the end of August, because moving to university, it's been quite hard to, make friends and stuff. Like, I'm sure you guys are experiencing that as well, because where are we going to go to meet friends, right? And I even live in like a dorm building, and it's the most popular one on campus, and I don't really see many people. So that's like, probably the hardest thing.
Yeah, so I'm also here in Canada in dorm here at Brock, and I have right now I'm supposed to have a roommate, but because of lockdown, he's not here. So yeah, I you're right when you say about it. It was one of the best times like a pandemic could have happened, because in a way, yeah, we didn't do exams, and it was kind of like, yeah, it's been hard, especially online. I think everybody's having a hard time, like especially first years.
Yeah, with online classes. Sorry.
If this pandemic goes on, right, maybe towards September, and the class of 2021 will graduate from high school, what are your advice to them in terms of transitioning to university?
One thing for me that I found was like really important and really helped me get through it was I made my room really nice. Like, I splurged on my dorm room and decorated it exactly how I wanted it, because I knew that I'd be spending a lot of time in there. So yeah, I made it like my little sanctuary. I got plants, candles, incense, a bunch of lights and things like that, so that I could make it exactly how I wanted it. Especially if you're spending all your classes in there and everything, I think you need to have like a good safe space where you're going to be able to relax and chill, kind of thing. Yeah.
Very good advice.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you are studying at the University of Ottawa, in the nation's capital. And can you tell us a little bit about your program and why you chose that program?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm in honors health science. So I'm a direct entry of the faculty. And basically, like, the courses we take are just things to work us towards med school. So I've taken like chemistry. Right now, this semester, I'm taking anatomy, cell bio, microbio, drugs 101, and sociology. So it's a lot of social science as well as like human science. And I chose University of Ottawa because I didn't really want to go to U of T because it was a bit too close to home. And the other schools didn't have as good a science program that I wanted. And then I got rejected from McGill and UBC.
So you mentioned that obviously health science, that's a part of the STEM program, and we all know STEM. What it stands for, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, are like a very male dominant program, and also very elite. Like, it's like I can never do a STEM program because I'm just not a math person. I'm more like a art and social person.
Says the architect. Wait, hold on.
Wait, architecture is an interdisciplinary program. Okay. So, yeah. So tell me about a little bit about your, like, what's your plan, like general plan? Did you have like interest in the STEM, like health science, like forever? And did you choose your IB courses just based on your major back then? And what's your plan going to med, grad, or like after undergrad? Like, what's your plan after that?
I've known that I've wanted to go into medicine since I was like probably in grade 3, and I knew I wanted to be a surgeon since like grade 7. So, and all the women in my family, or not all, but a lot of the women in my family were in some form of medicine. My mom was an EMT when she was young, and then she was a respiratory therapist, things like that. So I've always just kind of been around that lifestyle, and it's always interested me a lot. So yeah, going into IB, I knew that medicine was what I wanted to pursue. So, I chose prereqs like chem and bio and stuff like that. And then after my undergrad, I'm hoping to go to med school in the States. I'd like to end up practicing in the States because there's, more money down there kind of thing. And I'd like to be a reconstructive plastic surgeon. So I would like to work with like gender confirmation surgeries or people that have had mastectomies and, want to feel more comfortable in their bodies again and stuff like that. I feel like that would be, a really rewarding thing for both parties, right? Like being able to make someone's life that much better. So yeah, that's my plan. Hopefully.
I think it's a good segue because to the next point, because Jason kind of touched about the male dominance in the field you're in and in the and in the STEM program. The next question about this is you as with the multiple female influences in your family, and you have such a strong opinion about what you want to do. Has that influenced you, or kind of is it a setback, or is it that different, or is it something you feel more confident in because of you being in a male dominant program?
I know I'm a very strong person, and like I said earlier, I'm quite stubborn, so I won't allow myself to be disrespected by people in that way. So far, I haven't really noticed many things that are disrespectful or anything that seems like slightly sexist or anything, just because it's all online, I guess. And I think people are becoming more tolerant of it as well. And one thing I have noticed is that whenever I tell someone I'm in health science, they assume I'm in nursing, which, like, obviously there's nothing wrong with nursing, but that's just always, what they assume for girls. I am kind of worried about, though, when I go into med school and when I actually become a surgeon, being like a fairly short girl, I'm kind of worried that I won't be taken as seriously as I would if I was, taller or a man, right? So there's that, but I don't think it's going to be that much of a hindrance in my life that it's going to, push me away from what I want to do.
Oh, that's a
Yeah, I guess there's still, implicit bias going on in med field specifically, because as long as we see those in dramas as well, in those drama series, they mentioned that. And also in real life, I've read about an article talking about biases in the med field, especially like within hospital, like that kind of environment. But I guess it's getting better in general. Hope you wouldn't encounter any in the future, that's for sure. So when you were in Wrigley, you spent a term in Spain. So we want to know more about that experience, because I remember that time I was like, where the heck is Liv? Like she's like in cafe like every single night, but like now it's disappeared. Like that's not normal. And some people tell me, oh, she went to Spain. Oh, I was like, oh, okay, doing exchange and stuff. So why did you choose Spain, or why did you decided to do a exchange program first, and Spain specifically?
So I decided to do an exchange program because, like I said, when I was younger, I traveled a lot, and my parents really wanted me to do it since I was young. We started looking into it when I was in like grade 5 or something. And so it was kind of just like always in the back of our minds. And then in grade 8, there was a few girls went to France on exchange, and there were things like that. So it kind of just pushed us in that direction. And then we saw it in grade 10, and I for sure knew I wanted to do it. I've never been the type to get homesick at all. So that wasn't really going to be a struggle for me. And we chose Spain because I really wanted to better my Spanish, because I already had the foundation of living in Mexico. And I just love the language anyways. So I decided that Spain would be really fun for me to experience. So.
As a Canadian, kind of, how was it? Was it different? Did you feel kind of embraced, or did you feel of an outcast?
When I first got there, I had a really hard time for like the first 4 days. I think it was because, I was jet lagged, so I was tired. It was all new people. I couldn't really understand the language that well because of the different dialect and everything. And we had to wake up at like 5 a.m. for school. So there was that as well. Wasn't a fan of that. But I can pick up languages fairly easy. So being there after like about a week and a half, I was starting to be able to talk to people and actually converse and get to know people. So I think that helped me out a lot. And there were also 3 other Canadian girls there too on exchange. So we kind of hung out together and we kind of formed a little group. If we ever didn't understand something, we could just consult each other and be like, did you get that?
Yeah. So I remember after you came back theoretically you were saying, I think it was like in English class or something, you were saying that your host family don't speak English at all, so you kind of have to
Wow.
learn
The thing
Spanish
was
in a
though,
tough way.
they told me they didn't speak any English, and I was like, okay, cool. And then so I bettered my Spanish a lot because whenever I was home, I was talking to them in Spanish. And my exchange partner did speak English, but she didn't want to speak English to me because she wanted me to learn, which I really appreciate. But then we were visiting my host father's parents for Easter. And while we were there, he just started talking perfect English to me, like no accent. And I'm like, so you lied to me? It was near the end too. Oh, I was so surprised.
This is I guess it's kind of like they want you to get better in Spanish, so it's a good lie, I guess. And
That's a great
I like
story.
I don't know if Alex, I think every person who tries to learn a second language had this problem because when I first came to Ridley like 5 years ago, I was like the shy kid mainly because of language barrier, because I couldn't like speak, or I couldn't like listen that well. So um one advice I was given by a prefect back then was like, you gotta talk to people, like, right? You don't um like find your comfort zone within your own group or people who share like who speak Mandarin. Because if you stay there, you can get better. So later I was like, that's very true. And I decided to change like the whole lot in Ridley and try to actually, make more friends who speak English natively. And that's how I get uh, better at speaking. Even now, like I have to constantly uh, immerse myself in the language. Otherwise, I would just forget. Like this summer was especially tough for me because not much contact, and I am in China at the moment, and nobody speaks English. So it's like I really have to pick this up. Like even I'm quite fluent at it, it still fades.
Yeah, for sure.
For me personally, it wasn't that hard as I kind of like Liv. I lived all over the place. I was born in Argentina. I lived in Switzerland for a couple of years, and I went to Mexico. And for my entire life, it was English, English, English. So for me, kind of the opposite of being here in Canada. I never speak Spanish. So I talked to one of my friends back in Mexico a few days ago, and he was making fun of me because I couldn't remember most of my Spanish, which is kind of true. So
That's how it went for me in Spain a bit too. I was speaking Spanish so much that I was starting to forget. Like I'd say a sentence in English and I'd have to sit and think, is that correct?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So it's very interesting just to see like how different perspectives, because kind of it's kind of a switch when you went to Spain, and then we went to like it's the same kind of dynamic, but kind of sticking with the theme of different countries. one of our last questions that we're going to ask is, you say you travel a lot, you like to travel, it's one of the things you like. So if you could choose or talk about a bit about your favorite places or favorite place, not exactly to say if you like enjoyed it, you enjoyed the atmosphere, more of the place that you feel it was like the most different to to your normal culture.
So we lived in, I think my favorite place that I've ever lived is San Jose del Cabo, in Cabo San Lucas, obviously. Because it is a bit of a tourist city. Like, as you know, it's a vacation hotspot. So it was a bit different, but I think that was like my favorite place I ever lived, because we made friends with a Spanish tutor. She would come over and teach us Spanish, and we became really close with her and her family. And culturally, it was just a lot of fun. We lived right near the beach, so we could always walk down. There was like a cactus nursery and things like that. Really good food, of course, all around. So that was really nice. And I think if I hadn't have had that experience, I would have been a little more closed off, because I had to put myself out there. I was like 8 years old, so I had to put myself out there to try to make friends at a fairly young age. And I think that's one of the reasons why I'm like pretty outgoing, and I try to make friends and things like that.
Yeah. So how about within Canada? Where have you been in your own country? And also, I remember the summer of 2019, I was planning a North American tour around, and I asked you about whether I should go to Ottawa or Montreal, and you said Montreal, so I went, and I got bite by bugs. Yeah. What's your recommendation to people who wants to travel around within Canada?
So summer of 2019, I went on a road trip with my parents across Canada. So what we did was we started in southern Ontario, where we live, and we drove up to the top of Ontario and then cut across through all the provinces. And that was really cool, because I had never been to any provinces other than Quebec or Ontario before. So honestly, like, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, they're pretty much just land. There's not much there. Even the capitals, you go to the capitals and it's just like, it looks like
I had
capitals.
experience with that. So in grade 9 March break, because my brother studies at Regina, Saskatchewan, and that's a capital, right? I was like, yeah, let's go there. And I flew there, and now I don't want to go back to that place ever again, because it's just so lame. And it's March, and it's like, if you haven't been in Canada, in any of those middle provinces and territories, it's like
Ontario
so
or BC?
cold. Yeah. It's cold, it's snowy, it's a lot of, and your mom will ask you to do labor work. So that's it's not a fun place, I would say, but it's worth visiting. Especially, Calgary, for example. It's in the middle, but it's a big city, and
yeah, Calgary was pretty, and Banff and
Banff,
stuff.
obviously. I want to go there, but
got my Banff sweater on today, actually.
Oh,
nice.
I was prepared.
Yeah. How about BC? Have you visited?
I really
BC?
liked BC. Yeah, we went to Vancouver to check out. I forget what the other city's called. The other UBC campus. We went there to check out that UBC campus, and that was it was beautiful. Not really my speed though. I like city more. And it was like right on a lake. It was really beautiful though. And then we checked out the Vancouver UBC campus, and I really loved Vancouver. It was a nice blend of like suburbs and city, because it's really like spread out and sprawling. So it wasn't too too much city in one place. Wasn't like a concrete jungle. So it was really nice. Yeah.
So I know you travel with the school as well. Back in Ridley, there's a debate. There was a debate in Boston. You travel with Mr. Leach.
Yeah.
And is there any other? Were you in Model UN?
I was, but I didn't go to Washington.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then I also went to
trip?
Queens. It was a lot of fun. It was Tom, Steven, and I. So we're all like pretty close friends. We all really enjoyed each other's company. So it was tons of fun. And yeah, I didn't really like place super high in anything, but I was proud of the speech I wrote, and I was proud of the work I did. I feel like it helped further me. I just hadn't been in public speaking or debate enough to, have enough experience to take the trophies or whatever.
Yeah. Well, you took the trophy, right?
Did I? I don't think so.
Did you take the trophy?
For the debate thing.
For the Valentine's Day debate.
Yeah, for the debate thing.
Yeah, for the Valentine's debate. Yeah, I remember that. So the last question we always ask this, what does your name mean?
Like your full name. It had to do like family, like something special with your parents, or just a nice story.
Yeah. So my full name, I've never heard my middle name ever before. But it's Olivia Myrne Reynolds. Like I've never heard anyone that has that middle name. It's Myrne. So yeah, it's pretty unique. It's not like Elizabeth or Anne or something like that. So my first and last name are pretty straightforward. I mean, they just like Olivia, but I go by Liv. I hate being called Olivia. And my mom's maiden name is actually Rose because she's German, and my dad is I believe British and Irish. But I also have some Scottish in me somewhere. We own a castle in Scotland. That's all.
Oh wow, okay.
So, yeah. But Myrne, my middle name, actually is my great grandma's name on my dad's side, because my great grandma and my great grandpa raised him from when he was really young. So kind of like to commemorate her, he wanted to give me the middle name Myrne. So.
Interesting.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
That's a long heritage back then.
And you own a castle somewhere. That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, I've never seen it. I don't know what it looks like, but maybe I'll go visit it one day. Who knows?
It's yours.
Yeah. Exactly.
So about the Liv part, like, I think most people at Ridley, we all know that you hate the name Olivia. So we all call you Liv. Can you explain?
I don't know. I was only ever called Olivia when my parents were angry at me. And it just seems so professional to me. Like, I feel I don't look like an Olivia in my eyes. Like, I feel like I look like a Liv. It's a lot more like light and friendly. So,
I guess so.
Yeah,
because
I would always
Olivia
like,
just sounds like Olivia. That kind of like for me, right? Jason is like, if you even say Jason and or Jason, like it doesn't make any kind of like a threatening.
Yeah.
It just Olivia sounds really threatening.
That's pretty good. That's the end of the set of 10 questions. Thank you, Olivia, for answering them. Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you so much. And if you like this video, you can comment down below and let us know what's going on in your mind. And also, the first diversity is going to be published later, and Olivia's debate speech is in it. It's indeed very interesting. You can also check her out in the description below. We'll attach everything.
All your things below. All your Instagram.
Yeah,
pretty much.
And also, if you want to send us your article or any writings for the next diversity, please do so before February 25th so I can edit them. Otherwise, thank you so much, Olivia. Again,
thank you guys.
Our pleasure to have you here.
Thank you, everybody.
It was a lot of fun.
Who stayed this whole time.
Yeah. Leave a like and see you next week.
See
Bye.
you next time. Thank you. Bye.